Hey guys, it's Mythos Gamer and welcome back for turn number 2 of our 4th game. Before we get started, I'll make a quick change to our game. I guess Yogs the Thoth saw how well we did on our setup turn and our first turn and how lucky we've been. So he sent 2 of his heralds to try and stop us. Now normally I don't change things up in the middle of a game, or not really the middle of the game, but on the second turn. But because we were pretty much going to steamroll Arkham this game, we had some amazing equipment draws, and we're already using Patrice, and we have so many clue tokens. We need to do something to kind of change it up, make it to where this is actually going to be a challenge for us. So, our first herald we're looking at is Groth, the Nemesis Moon. When Groth is the herald, place 2 extra Doom tokens on the Ancient One's Doom track at the start of the game. We already had 2 on there from our 2 gates opening. So we'll go ahead and add 2 more, bringing us up to 4 Doom tokens. Groth also adds the Looming Omens ability to our game. Each time an Environment Mystic card is drawn from the Mythos deck, every investigator must either spend 1 clue token, or else the first player rolls a die and consults the chart below. On a roll of 1, every investigator loses 1 sanity. On a roll of 2, every investigator loses 1 stamina. 3 and 4 have no effect. On a roll of 5, the terror level increases by 1. And on a 6, another Doom token is added to the Doom track. Speaking of the terror level going up, the King in Yellow is back for revenge. We barely beat him last game. This time, he's going to have Groth with him to help take us down before Yogs the Thoth wakes up. If you don't remember what the King in Yellow does, basically whenever the terror level goes up, we have to put a yellow sign either on the Doom track or on our terror track. If we put it on the Doom track, it counts as a Doom token. If we put it on the terror track, we have to draw a Blight card, and Blight cards add random effects to the game that are never helpful. Alright, the clock is ticking. There are 4 Doom tokens on the Doom track. 12 and he wakes up. I can guarantee you we will not beat him in combat. So we better make every turn count. Alright, now to get started with our second turn. I don't think we're doing anything during the upkeep this turn. We're going to pass the first player marker from Hank over to Daisy and move on to our movement phase. First thing Daisy's going to do is activate her True Magic Tome. She has to exhaust it and spend 1 movement point to make a lore -1 check, and she gains a clue token if she succeeds. She has a lore of 5, so we're going to roll 4 die. She got a success, so she will gain a clue token. This will bring her up to 3. Next, Daisy's going to use her old journal. You can exhaust and spend a movement point to make a lore -1 check. If you pass, gain 3 clue tokens and discard old journal. Like I said, she has a lore of 5, so we're going to roll 4 dice again. And she got the 1 success, so the old journal is discarded, and she will gain 3 clue tokens, bringing her up to 6. And for the final part of Daisy's movement, she's going to move further into the Plateau of Lang. Our next investigator, Patricia, has a movement of 4. She's going to go from Independence Square to the downtown streets, then from the downtown streets to the Easttown streets, then from Easttown to Rivertown, and finally from Rivertown to the Black Cave, which will collect a clue token, bringing her up to 8. Our third investigator, Agnes, has a movement of 4. The north side of Arkham is pretty bare of clue tokens now, so she can start heading south. She's going to go from Hibbs Roadhouse to the Easttown streets, then from the Easttown streets to Rivertown, then over to the Merchant District, and then she's going to leave the Merchant District streets and head into the Unnameable, where she'll collect a clue token, bringing her up to 7. And finally, our 4th investigator, Hank, has a movement of 5. He's going to go from the graveyard to the Rivertown streets to the French Hill streets. Then he's going to cut across from the French Hill over to Miskatonic University, then leave the university, head into the Uptown streets, and for his last movement point, he's going to leave the Uptown streets and head into the woods, where there's a gate to another dimension. Alright, that is it for our movement phase. We had a lot of movement that turn. We're going to go into our Arkham Encounters phase. First, we have Patrice at the Black Cave, so we'll draw an encounter card. You are in a maze of twisty passages, all alike. Pass a lore -2 check or become lost. If you fail, lose 1 stamina and stay here next turn. Patrice has a lore of 5, so we're going to roll 3 die. And she did not get a success. We're kind of on the clock now, so her wasting another turn at the Black Cave is really not good. We could use some clue tokens to re-roll, but because her clue tokens are shared between all the investigators, we're kind of hurting everyone that way. I think we may just suck it up and stay there this turn. She will lose 1 stamina, bring her down to 4. Next we have Agnes at the Unnameable, so we will draw an encounter card. A hideous monster appears. Let's see what we get. And we drew a Hound of Tyndalos. The Hound is a pretty nasty monster. He has -2 to horror check, doing 4 sanity damage, -1 to combat checks, doing 3 stamina damage, 2 toughness, physical immunity, and when he moves directly to the nearest investigator inside of Arkham. Movement really won't affect us because this only lasts for 1 combat, then he goes away. For the horror check, Agnes has a will of 0, so she will take 4 sanity damage if we don't spend any clue tokens. Man, I think we're going to spend a clue token and at least give it 1 shot at not taking this 4 sanity damage. Did not get a success. Agnes has 6 clue tokens now. We'll spend 1 more and see if we can get a success. And we got a success. Okay, no sanity damage. Now for combat, it's a combat rating of -1. Agnes is going to cast a spell. Agnes is going to cast Wither. Has a casting modifier of +0, costs 0 sanity. It is a magical spell, so it will affect the Hound. Whenever you cast, you gain +3 to combat checks until the end of combat. Because Agnes has a lore of 6, and the modifier is 0, she'll roll 6 die and needs 1 success. And there's a success, so she will successfully cast a spell. Because Agnes has the Memories of Conquest ability, whenever she casts a spell, she gains an additional bonus equal to the number of hands that spell cost. So she will gain an additional +1 to the +3 of Wither, so that's +4. And Agnes has a fight rating of 4, so that's 8 rolls. And then a -1 from the Hound, so she gets to roll 7 die and needs 2 successes. Here are the first 4. And there's 1 success. And the other 3. Oh, we did not get the success. If she does not get the success she needs, then she's going to take 3 stamina damage. I think we're spending another clue token to roll one more die. And we got the success. She will kill the hound, giving her 2 toughness of monster trophies, but it cost her 3 clue tokens. That was a very painful encounter phase for her. Our last investigator in Arkham, Hank, is at the woods, and there's a gate to another dimension. So he will get pulled through and appear in another dimension. That's it for our Arkham encounters phase. Moving on to our other world encounter phase. First we have Daisy at the Plateau of Lang. We need a red or green otherworld encounter card. Okay, we got a green one, and Plateau of Lang is on there. Looking at the Sleeping Guardian, you weigh the risks. If you choose to chance it, make a luck -2 check. If you pass, draw 1 spell and 1 common item. If you fail, lose 2 sanity and 2 stamina. Well, Daisy has a luck of 1. 1 -2 does not sound like a good idea for us, so we are not going to chance it. And our other investigator, not in Arkham, Hank, is in another dimension, so any color otherworld encounter card will work. Alright, we drew a yellow one, and of course another dimension is not on there, so we go to other. The only way forward now is a terrifying leap off a cliff. Pass a will -2 check or stay here next turn. Unfortunately, Hank has a will of 0, and he only has 4 clue tokens, so we really can't spare any, so it looks like he's going to be slowed down for a turn. Okay, definitely not the most successful otherworld encounter phase. We're going on to our Mythos phase. Alright, our Mythos card says a gate will appear at the woods. And of course, there's already a gate there, so we will have a monster surge. There are 4 investigators, so we'll be placing 4 monsters on the board. There is already 1 monster, but that's still not enough for us to put in the outskirts. So we're going to have to split our monsters up. 2 will go to the woods, and 2 will go to the gate at the Silver Twilight Lodge. First we'll draw 2 monsters for the woods. Our first monster for the woods is the Night Gaunt, with a -2 to sneak. He has a -1 to hard checks, doing 1 sanity damage, -2 to combat checks. He doesn't do any stamina damage, but when you fail a combat check against him, you're drawn through the nearest open gate. And he has 2 toughness. And our second monster for the woods is a Wraith, another flying monster. He has +0 to sneak checks. He gives -2 to hard checks, doing 1 sanity damage, -2 to combat checks, doing 2 stamina damage, 3 toughness. He is the undead, physical immunity, nightmarish 1, overwhelming 1. Pretty nasty monster. And for the Silver Twilight Lodge, we drew another Night Gaunt and a Shoggoth. A fast monster, moves twice, and has -1 to sneak checks. Causes -1 to hard checks, doing 3 sanity damage, -1 to combat checks, doing 3 stamina damage, 3 toughness, physical resistance, and nightmarish 1. Another tough monster. Alright, we added 4 monsters to the board, but there is some good news. We get to place a clue at both the Historical Society and the newspaper. Already 1 clue token at the Historical Society. And now there's 2. Nothing over at the newspaper. Next is our monster movement. Out of all our monsters, all we have is 1 diamond. That is our Shoggoth. So he will move twice because he is a red fast monster. The Shoggoth's going to go from the Silver Twilight Lodge to the French Hill Streets. And then from the French Hill Streets to the Rivertown Streets. And for our text, we have another headline. Another time, another place. Every open gate leading to another dimension or another time releases one monster into its location. Of course, another monster is coming out this turn, because we do have a gate to another dimension of the woods. Let's see what we get. And we drew the Wizard Watley. He has a -2 to sneak checks. Provides a -2 to horror checks, doing 2 sanity damage. -3 to combat checks, doing 3 stamina damage. Has magical immunity. If you pass a combat check against him, you get to return to the box and you draw 1 spell. And he has 2 toughness. The woods already look pretty bad. We had a Wraith and a Night Gaunt there. And now the Wizard Watley shows up. Alright guys, that was a pretty rough second turn. I'm already kind of regretting adding in 2 Heralds, and they really haven't done anything yet. It goes to show you that in Arkham, things can change really quick. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you guys next turn.